Well, hello there. Welcome back to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. Well, I wanted to take just a few minutes to share with you my thoughts on a recent 4K Ultra HD release. It came out just this past week as of the time that I'm recording this video. And it is the 1952 film directed by Stanley Donen. Gene Kelly has a co-directing credit for this film, and it came out in 1952. It's a classic, all-time classic movie musical, one of the all-time great films. It is Singin' in the Rain, the 1952 film starring Gene Kelly as Don Lockwood, Donald O'Connor as Cosmo Brown, and Debbie Reynolds as Kathy Selden in this classic all-time film. This is one of the greatest films of all time, one of the greatest movie musicals ever made, and it's one of my top 25 personal favorite movies of all time. When I first started this YouTube channel about a year and a half ago, one of the first series that I did was I did a series of 3 films where I shared my personal top 25 favorite films, and this film, Singin' in the Rain, is in that list. It's on that top 25 favorite list. It is just truly one of the greatest movie musicals ever. Now on the back here, it's described as the greatest movie musical of all time. It says all time, right? Of all time. It's described as such on the back, and to be honest with you, I'm not gonna get into an argument or a debate about it. Different people are gonna have different opinions on this. Some people may say West Side Story is the greatest, or some may say even La La Land is, or Les Miserables, or what have you. And that's fine. People are gonna have different opinions on these things. But for me personally, this is the greatest movie musical ever. And I love this film. It works not just as a musical, but it works as a film. So even if you're not a huge fan of musicals, a lot of people will love this film just based on the other merits of this film. So this is an amazing film on so many levels, and I'm not going to give a full review of the movie itself. I'm just going to tell you a couple of things I really love about Singin' in the Rain. First is the musical numbers and the performances by the leads and by all the supporting cast. So Gene Kelly, of course, was an amazing, legendary performer as a dancer. He was absolutely phenomenal in this. Donald O'Connor was phenomenal as well. Just amazing talent displayed on the screen, from the dance numbers, the choreography, the musical numbers are just absolutely phenomenal. And it's just a wildly entertaining film as a musical. It is just so well made, so well put together. And it was so well made that it stands even to this day. It's just being just a great movie musical that stands toe to toe with many modern musicals. So it just works as a musical. It's phenomenal. And I love the story. I mean, the story is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I love movies that are about the process of making movies. And Singin' in the Rain is one of the great movies that's ever been made about making movies. And it is so good in that regard. The story is really fascinating, and it really teaches you a lot about history, because the story takes place in the 1920s. So this is a 1952 film, but it's a period piece in that it takes place in the 1920s during the time that the silent films were about to give way to this new revolutionary form of filmmaking called the talkies. So talking motion pictures were about to, hit big, and the silent films were on their way out. And so Gene Kelly is playing a character named Don Lockwood. He's a big silent movie star. He, along with another lady that plays in this film, Jean Hagen, played Lena Lamont. So Don Lockwood and Lena Lamont are big silent movie stars, and they're getting ready to, along with the rest of the industry, along with the rest of Hollywood, transition to this whole new form of making movies, which included audio and sound and hearing the performers. And what is so awesome about this film is showing the history of that and showing how the studios and how the actors had to basically adjust and change and adapt to this change in the industry. And you see so much about how do we incorporate audio? How do we properly record audio? How do we get the performers to speak into the microphone so that we can get their audio and get it evenly and cleanly, so the audio can get into the microphone, go through the wires, all the way to getting recorded on the record, and just all those technical aspects are what's covered in this film, and it's covered in a really cool storytelling. It's just part of the narrative of the movie, and it's just an absolutely phenomenal film. So Gene Kelly is playing in this silent film that they have to convert to a talkie film and a musical format. So you see that whole process of how they have to pitch these ideas to the studio heads of, okay, how are we gonna do this? What is it gonna be about? What are we gonna call this movie? And just all the things around, okay, how are we going to, Lena Lamont didn't have a great voice, so how do we replace her voice with another singer who can sing, and how do we synchronize her performance to the audio, and just the whole process of synchronizing audio to the action on screen is one of the challenges that they had during this time. And you see that in the process of watching this film. So you learn a lot about the history of film, you learn a lot about the history of cinema. And so that's really a reason why I love this film as well. It's just one of the great films that's ever been made about the movie making business. And overall, as a total package of a film, this is a film that's wildly entertaining as a musical, is funny. Donald O'Connor is just was an absolutely amazing performer. He plays Cosmo Brown. Of course, Cosmo Brown and Don Lockwood were buddies growing up, and they're just good friends, and they're in the movie business together. And Donald O'Connor brought a tremendous level of talent in terms of physical comedy to this film that is absolutely hilarious to watch. There's a sequence in this film called Make 'Em Laugh, one of the musical numbers, and I challenge anyone to watch that sequence and not laugh. If you are able to sit through and watch that sequence and not at least break a smile, I don't know if you're alive. I mean, that is one of the funniest sequences ever captured in motion pictures, in my opinion. I mean, that sequence, Make 'Em Laugh, with Donald O'Connor, the physical comedy that's on display in that sequence, I can only imagine how many takes they had to make of that. I cannot believe that that was done in one take. That had to be done over probably, I don't know. But it was an amazing sequence that was put together. And if you don't laugh in that sequence, I mean, pinch yourself. Is there a heartbeat there? I don't know, but it's just one of the greatest comedic sequences ever captured on film. And it's just one of the small aspects of this amazing film. Of course, you had the famous title sequence, Singin' in the Rain, with Gene Kelly doing that performance, on that soundstage, on that set, that particular day with the rain and the umbrella. Just an amazing sequence. That's one of the best known aspects of this film, but there's so many other great performances that make up for an amazing musical in Singin' in the Rain, along with that incredible narrative. So the film itself is phenomenal, but you're probably coming here wanting to know, how does this 4K Ultra HD picture looks? And to cut to the chase and make a long story short, this 4K looks great. It looks fantastic, okay? It is a great restoration of a 70-year-old film. This is the 70th anniversary of the film. It came out in 1952. Of course, so this is the 70th anniversary, and it looks great on 4K, just to cut to the chase. Now, the question is, for those of you who are like me and you already have this Singin' in the Rain on Blu-ray from 2011, I think, or 2012, the question then becomes, how much of an upgrade is this new 4K over this Blu-ray? And what I can tell you is, having seen this film in both of these formats, I can tell you that this is an upgrade over the standard Blu-ray. But this standard Blu-ray is a very solid Blu-ray. So it's really another one of those cases where you're comparing a 4K upgrade to what was already a very, very nice Blu-ray. And so I have a Sony 4K television, I have a Sony 4K player, and the upscaling on that works really well. So it can take that Blu-ray and it looks really, really well. It makes it look the best that it can possibly look. And so when you compare that to this 4K image, the 4K is a step up. in picture quality across all the areas that we look at. So when we think about detail, you do see that slight uptick in detail with the 4K resolution. You do see a slight uptick in the way that the colors are presented, in the depth and the clarity of the image, the way that the film grain is resolved. Every aspect of the film presentation, picture quality, is just a little bit better on this 4K Ultra HD disc. Now I say just a little bit better across all those areas because that's the best way I can describe it. I don't see this as being a mind-blowing head and shoulders difference between the Blu-ray that came out from 2011. I don't see it as that big of a jump. But when you take into account all the slight improvements in detail, in depth, in clarity, in the way the colors are presented, in the way the image pops overall, you add all those elements together and you have an overall better image quality on this 4K Ultra HD. And it truly makes this edition the best that this picture has ever looked on the home video market. So there's definitely a noticeable difference when you compare them side by side. It is not a mind-blowing difference. So if you are someone who just wants to stick to this Blu-ray edition, you have an excellent presentation of Singin' in the Rain, and you're good to go. But if you want this film and you love this film and you want this film on the highest quality available on the home video market, definitely upgrade this to 4K Ultra HD. I happen to love this film. It's one of my top 25 personal favorite films. And so for me, it is absolutely worth the upgrade because I do see a little bit of an uptick in picture quality. It just makes the picture look more vibrant and more immediate, It just sort of takes it up to that next level. But the Blu-ray from 2011 is also perfectly fine. Now, as far as the special features, I will tell you the special features on this 4K Ultra HD are ported over in their entirety from this original Blu-ray. So the special features are all the same, okay? You get that commentary with Debbie Reynolds and Donald O'Connor and a whole cast of folks. You get that same commentary. You also get the Singin' in the Rain, Raining on a New Generation documentary. It was all new when this Blu-ray came out. Of course, it's still carried forward a decade later in this edition. There's a jump to song feature and a theatrical trailer. So there's not a lot of special features on this release, which in some ways is a little bit disappointing. But the reason to pick this up is just for the amazing film itself. I mean, the film itself is more than enough, okay? You're getting one of the most entertaining, laugh out loud films that's ever been made, one of the best movie musicals ever, fantastic choreography, fantastic performances. The leads are all great. I mean, Gene Kelly is Don Lockwood, just a likable character. Donald O'Connor is over the top in terms of his level of entertainment as a physical comedian. And Debbie Reynolds brings a wonderful element to this story as well. She is just wonderful in this role. She was not a dancer on the same level as Gene Kelly or Donald O'Connor. She was not that level of a performer, but she was able to get herself trained and working with Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor to blend into this group very well. And she did a great job performing in this movie. She is, of course, the mother of Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia from the Star Wars movies. And so I just love Debbie Reynolds in this performance. And these three leads are a big part of what I love about this film. They're just lovable characters, all-time classic, great film, and it looks the best it's ever looked on this 4K Ultra HD disc. So I highly recommend picking it up if you love this film. If you don't currently own this film on home media, definitely pick it up. But if you happen to own this film on this Blu-ray and you don't want to swing the money right now to pick up this 4K, maybe you wait for a sale. But for me, if you love this film and you want it in the highest picture quality available, definitely go ahead and make the upgrade. But let me know in the comments below what you think about this film, Singin' in the Rain. Have you seen it? If not, definitely check it out. And let me know if you've made the upgrade to 4K Ultra HD for Singin' in the Rain. And also let me know what other titles you are looking forward to picking up as we now move into the month of May. What titles are you most looking forward to picking up? Let me know that in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Peace.